Good afternoon, everybody. We're back for another Facebook Live career coaching session. So thank you for taking time to join us today. We're excited. Today we're joined by Donna Mullins, who's a talent development specialist with Brighton Center at the Kentucky Career Center. So we're going to give everyone just some time to join and let us know if they can hear and see us. That is important with this, that you can both hear and see us. If not, wouldn't be very effective Facebook Live. So Donna, thank you for taking time to join us today. We're excited that you can be here to talk to us about resumes.
Well, thank you for having me, Garrett.
So Donna works here at the Kentucky Career Center with us, and Donna is like my go-to for resumes. So if I need somebody to look over a resume, it's Donna because she's the expert in that area. So
you're too kind.
All right. So again, if you can hear us, let us know. Make sure you can hear and see us, and then just throw it in the chat for us. If you have questions, throw them in the chat. Again, at the end, we'll have an opportunity to go through and answer any questions that you might have. If you're watching this later tonight and you're not watching it while we are live, feel free to go ahead and put your question, comment your question. We'll get back to you. Just we do look through these to make sure that we don't miss any questions. But we're excited. So we're going to wait just about 10 or 15 more seconds to join, and then we'll get started. So we're really excited about today.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Donna, if you could just take some time to introduce yourself to us and tell us a little about your role with Brighton Center at the Kentucky Career Center.
All right, thank you. So as Garrett said, my name's Donna Mullins, and I am a talent development specialist with Brighton Center. So essentially, I act as a career coach. So I can help you with resumes, cover letters, completing online job applications, conducting mock interviews. We share news, information and news with you about job leads and hiring events. And then also for anyone who might have a criminal record, we can also help with something called a letter of disclosure. And we also can help you find a job as well. So
that's awesome. Yeah. So really, I like how you sum it up. Just kind of you're a career coach is the best way to put it. I guess a talent development specialist is a fancy word for that. But that's for anybody, not just, it could be anybody. But they don't have to be unemployed. It could be anybody that's just looking for a change of career, just looking to start a career, right? They don't have to be unemployed to reach out to you.
Absolutely. Yeah, we are here to help with any career development needs. It doesn't matter, what stage you're at with that.
Excellent. So, well, we'll get started and we'll jump right into the questions here. Again, we're going to talk today about resumes, just the importance of them. And why they're important. So Donna's going to share that information with us, but we also want to take this time to talk about our monthly resume workshops. So can you tell us just about the resume workshops with the Kentucky Career Center, Donna?
Sure. So basically, the upcoming one is actually going to be September 15th, but okay. They are going to be held on the second Tuesday of each month from 2 to 3:30, and we hold those on Zoom right now. So we have a virtual platform to offer that to people, given, everything with COVID and the limitations on group sizes and things.
Excellent. So, and that is on our Facebook page under events. So again, if you haven't liked our Facebook page yet, be sure that you like our Facebook page. And under the events, you'll see upcoming Tuesday, September 15th is the virtual link and how to register. Again, you'll notice the bar scrolling across the bottom. You can reach out to careercoach@brightencenter.com if you're looking for individual help, with your resume, your job search, things like that. And then the number there, you can reach out to Donna. That's Donna's number that's scrolling across the bottom, and we'll comment that as well to get registered for the upcoming workshop. So we're excited about that, and it's neat that it's virtual and they have that opportunity to do that, because COVID has kind of thrown a wrench in some things. So I'm happy that we're able to kind of change and pivot and use technology to help us. So the next question that I have, we kind of talked about a little bit, is when is the next workshop and how can someone register for it?
Sure. So just to reiterate, the very next one is Tuesday, September 15th from 2 to 3:30. And the best way to register for that right now is to reach out to Marcia Baker. She is my co-facilitator for these workshops. And her email is in the flyer, but you can also reach out to me and I can give you that information as well.
Okay, and we'll add her information to register, and we'll put her email in the chat right now. We'll actually do that right now. So if you're watching and you want to register for that next workshop, go ahead and reach out. Again, you can call the numbers scrolling across the bottom, or you can email Marcia, and we've got that in the chat right now, so you'll be able to see that. So when we're talking about these workshops, Donna, they are virtual, so that that's a little different. Kind of what can someone expect in the workshop? How long does it take? Is there a chance to get personal attention? Get your questions answered, that type of thing.
Sure. So basically, we do try to stick to that hour-and-a-half time frame, and we have a PowerPoint that we've put together with like tips and tricks for resumes. We also go over some resources that people can use in their career development and their resume development, things like that. But at the beginning, we just try to check in with everyone, each attendee, and see what they're hoping to get out of attending the workshop that day. And as we move through the presentation, we try to address those individual needs of each participant. There's typically not enough time to really meet one-on-one and really rework someone's resume or create a resume in that time. But we always give out our information and we encourage everyone to connect with us, and then we can schedule a time for one-on-one sessions to do that.
Awesome. So it's a really good opportunity to kind of, I guess, get like a high-level overview, get some tips and tricks about your resume. And then if you want somebody to review it, you attend this, when I build my resume, I can reach out to you or Marcia, another talent development specialist, and get that one-on-one meeting to, go through and kind of get like a fine-tooth comb, look through it and kind of see what it looks like, I guess. Yeah,
absolutely. That's exactly how it works.
Awesome. So we've talked about the resume workshops. Again, like Donna said, it takes about an hour and a half. That's done, I guess, through Zoom. From what I can tell, you can just join through Zoom. And when you register, you'll get the link to join on the day of the meeting. They'll have some time to answer some questions. It depends a little bit on how many people are in the class. If you've got 10 or 15 people, it's harder to get to all of those questions in the workshop. But again, there's always that opportunity to reach out for us for that personal attention as well. But just to share with everybody today, why is it important to make sure that your resume looks good?
Well, in all cases, you want to make sure that you're providing an accurate and up-to-date resume to the employers that you're applying with. So you're just trying to sell yourself on paper because usually they're looking at that before they get to see you face to face or even talk with you. So you're just trying to showcase your relevant professional experience and your acquired skill set so that they can make a well-informed decision as to whether or not they'd like to consider you for the role you've applied for. And oftentimes, we like to say that you have about 30 seconds that the hiring manager might look at your resume. So if they've got a stack of 15 to 30 resumes, they're trying to fill one or two positions. They don't want to read through every word on the page. So you want something, you really want to showcase those skill sets right away, kind of have them pop off the page. Okay. And that will kind of intrigue them to read more.
So that's true. I've always heard that you get about 30 seconds. That wasn't somebody just telling me that. I got about 30 seconds with my resume to get attention.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. So it does make sense that it looks good, that your resume looks good. Otherwise, like you said, if there's 30 people apply for one position, you're going to want something that they remember and it kind of jumps off the page to them. So that kind of brings me to like another thing that I wanted to talk about, or what are some of the common issues that you see with the resume, like things we should look for? If somebody's out watching today and they don't have time for the resume workshop, and we're going to take some time to go through some resumes, we're going to share them on the screen so you can see. But if they're just watching today, what are some tips, some common issues, some things that they should look out for, Donna?
Yeah, so things like inconsistent formatting. So just making sure everything kind of looks uniform on the page. Okay. That's a big one. Also spelling and grammatical errors. Making sure you have a professional email listed on your resume. And then also too, you want to include relevant work experience. So even if you've been working for 30 years in a variety of positions, you kind of want to tailor that resume towards the work you're wanting to continue to do.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, and that's something that I've always worked with people on is, your resume should probably change for the job that you're applying for. Not every job is going to have the same skill sets, the same requirements. So really making sure that the opportunity to showcase your skills for the job that you're using is probably important. So I do follow the same thing. So what we do want to do right now is I've got Donna here. So I've got some resumes that I have. So we're going to share our screen. You won't see our face anymore, but you'll be able to see the resume that we're going to pull up, so Donna can kind of look through, and that way we can kind of get an idea of what we're talking about when we say, make sure that your formatting is the same and make sure that you've got professional emails, that type of thing. So Donna, I'm going to hide you and I in just a second, and I'm going to pull up a resume just to hear what you have to say. Let's see if we can get it here. Share screen. Well, give me just a second. I'm running into some technical issues, but we'll get it up now. Maybe that'll do it. All right. Screen. Here we go. Share. All right. So Donna and I are going to hide, and then we are going to pop up.
Probably you could just create one just for work purposes, just for applying. Try to use something that has your name in it.
Okay, Donna, so I think we kind of ran into an issue where we lost mine and your sound for a second. So I'm just going to kind of go back. So we showed up on the resume here. This is just for a resume to share. So Donna, what are some things that you see that kind of jump right off the page that you would consider suggesting somebody change or update on this resume?
Sure. Well, right off the bat, the email. The email is not a professional email. It would probably be more ideal to use something that is a variation of your name. So johnadoe@gmail.com or something like that.
Okay.
Also, with the experience under Bob's Burgers, there's bullet points there, but then there's further work experience below that. And those are not listed as bullet points, the job titles. So that would be a formatting issue there. And also the dates. So you would, in the Bob's Burgers and in Big Tom's Warehouse, you would also want to have the months that you were working, just because, the year isn't necessarily clear enough because there's 12 months in a year. Yeah. I also see some like a spelling error and cherry picker. So just a few things there.
Yeah. And these are all, common errors. Working with Word is not always the easiest, getting your format to look the same. So, that can kind of be difficult sometimes, but it is important, I guess, when Donna discusses formatting issues, this is kind of what she's talking about, making sure that it looks the same, it looks, sound fancy, but like aesthetically pleasing. It's nice to look at. You don't want something that's tough to look at or real wordy, because again, you might have 30 seconds. And Donna said, and what she pointed out here, and that I notice, is that the skills don't really pop up. If somebody's looking at this, they might have to read through it for quite a bit of time to see if I have the skills to do it. But Donna, you are correct. Definitely, I probably don't want to use beer drinker as my application email. So getting something, maybe John A. Doe 1957 or something along those lines, to where it's a little more, a little easier to look at. So, so hopefully everybody out there got a chance to look and kind of see, this is what we talk about when we talk about formatting issues and making sure your dates are the same. The one thing I'd suggest is the objective. You probably want to put something a little more substance in your objective, other than to get a job making $14.50 an hour. That's your chance, Donna said, to sell yourself, to talk about your skills. So what we're going to do is we're going to close out this one. We're going to bring Donna and I back for just a second. We'll show up here in just a second, and we're going to share an example of a resume that Donna did for us that looks a lot better than that one. That way Donna can kind of talk about, what makes it pop, why makes it look better, so you can see kind of an example of what we talk about with those formatting issues. So we're going to get that pulled up on the screen just so everybody can look at it. And then again, Donna and I are going to disappear. And we'll show that up on the screen. So, all right. So here we go. So Donna, if you just want to kind of talk about some highlights on this one, the thing that pops out to me is that it does look just better to look at. It's not kind of jumbled. It's not as wordy. So what are some things that you see that stand out and would make this one a better example of a resume to use, Donna?
Sure. So they've got some skills highlighted at the top, which is very effective in, the employer gauging whether or not you've got the skills that they're looking for. They've got a summary that lists where they have 10 plus years in warehouse experience, the formatting of the dates and the job duties is uniform. So, and also there's a good example of the email, a professional email that we had mentioned. So we have jane.r.doe@gmail.com. So you can get a little creative sometimes with how you make that work, but it just comes across more professional than beer drinker.
Yeah. So, and I'm not out there saying that beer drinking is bad. It's just we don't want that in our email, in our professional email. Somebody might look at that. So, so hopefully you've got a chance to kind of see when we talk about formatting, just the difference that makes, having it look, the same. It's formatted the same throughout. You've reviewed for spelling errors, and having those skills as a hiring manager, if I'm looking for somebody that speaks Spanish, that's huge right there at the top. That's going to catch my attention. They're a great communicator. Those are the things that we're looking for. And Donna and I have talked a little bit about these skills are probably things that we want to pull from the job posting, right? So if the job posting says I'm looking for someone with basic PC skills and effective communication, and you have those skills, then you're going to want to list those. You're going to list those in your resume there. So I think that's a great example of what we can do. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this time. So we've shared some examples of what resumes look like, some strong resumes, some resumes that can use some work. There's no such thing, I guess, as a bad resume, I would say. It's better to have a resume than not have one. But there's always some that could use some work and looking at them. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this time to turn it over to get some questions. So if you're out there and you have any questions, go ahead and get them answered. It does take a little bit of time for them to come through. Looks like we've got one in there right now. And then, so if you have one, you have a question for myself or Donna, go ahead and submit it, because there's a little bit of delay for it coming through Facebook here. So Donna, is there anything that you want to share, any comments or anything like that you would want to talk about before we take questions from anybody out there?
Well, just to piggyback off of what you were just saying about measuring mirroring the language of a job description within your resume. So, we all know that a lot of times nowadays you're applying online. So a lot of that is kind of managed with algorithms. So there's a lot of instances where you might be a good candidate for the job, but because you don't have the right language in your resume, it just automatically sends your resume to a no pile. And so an actual person will never even review it.
Yeah. I didn't even know that. So that's awesome. Yeah. So that's important, like Don had said, mirroring those skills and requirements that they're looking for. Because like she said, if it's an algorithm, it might just say no, and you might be an excellent candidate. So, so it looks like we do have one question. If you have a question, try to get it in. If not, there are some times where there's a pretty good delay, so we'll answer it if it ends after we're done going live here. But we're going to bring up the first question here, and that's going to be from Mindy. Is there a charge if someone wants to get their resume completed by a career coach at the Kentucky Career Center?
The answer to that is no. All of our services are offered to you for free. But if you were to go to like a professional career coach, I guess your typical career coach, you usually pay a couple $100s for those services.
Awesome. So it is free. Yes, we don't charge anything for it. We never have. So even if you just have a resume and you just want to have somebody look over it, reach out to us again at thecareercoach@brightencenter.com, or feel free to call Donna, and you can get in contact with someone that can review it and make edits and changes as needed. So I think that's all the questions that we have in today. If you get a question after this, that's fine. Just go ahead and ask it, throw it in the chat, and then we'll get the answer to you. Again, when was the next resume workshop, Donna?
It is Tuesday, September 15th from 2 to 3:30.
2 to 3:30, and that's virtual through Zoom. So reach out to us. You can call Donna, or again, the email for Marcia is in here, and we'll make sure that that's edited. You can RSVP directly to Marcia. So, but Donna, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today and talk to us about resumes and just why they're important, and share some tips that are important. But be sure to join us. Like our Facebook page. That's the best way to find out about workshops or anything like that we have coming up. And join us Thursday as Haley will talk with another employer, and then we'll be back next Tuesday. But Donna, thank you again for joining us. Have a great day, and everybody, thanks for watching. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Garrett.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Bye.